incendiary bombs. They're like magnesium. And when they catch fire, you can't put them out with water. If you spray it with water, it's like pouring gas on it. Well, when this took off, it was something else. And we didn't know if the whole neighborhood was going to blow up. Because obviously it was maybe like from here up to the Bel Air Bowl or something.
Wow.
But you could see it. And so my dad was driving a truck, so he was gone. And we were left with a wife with Larry. Larry was even born then. He was a baby. But anyway, this guy, he hauled lumber, and he had a semi, and with no load on it, but he was at home. So he gathered up all of us like any good neighbor or man would worrying about the kids and the families. He gathered us all up. They threw a couple of mattresses and our blankets and everything on the truck. And we just took off to where we figured was out of distance and stopped, and that's where we spent the night and the next day until they cleared it and let it come back.
That was Texas camping.
Yeah, Texas camping.
But again, when you're a kid, something like that is scary.
Yeah,
you remember stuff like that.
In fact, they used to dump that. They had and you talk about us worrying about all the different health hazards and stuff. Well, they take the slag from those foundries where they were making these bombs, and they take the slag out and dump it with a dump truck, and they were just piles of it. Well, we used to go over there with squirt guns and squirt it, and all of these flames would fly up,
my God!
And they smoldered forever. And you don't see anything wrong with my lungs.
Thank goodness you don't have COPD, but you know
what I'm saying is a lot of the bullshit that you see nowadays is just bullshit. Something to worry you. But I think you get more immune to something if you were
right in there playing in it when you were a kid.
Okay, the one thing I want to add in here is there were 5. There was Bill, and then his brother Wayne, and then Mother had a 3rd son named David. And I wish that she would have, she had a son named David.
Yes.
And I wish she would have lived long enough and had her faculties about her when you were born to know there was a David.
He only lived for
She was alive when you were born, but she was, she had a brain tumor and she didn't understand.
Well, she was in the hospital when David was born, wasn't she?
Well, see, David was born. We moved here in 70.
She had her
Yes,
brain
and
surgery.
okay, yes, and it was right around the time that David died. Or David was born, that she died. Yeah, but she died. David was born in 72. Yeah.
She had her brain surgery before Troy and I were married.
Yeah, right. But she lived 5 years in a convalescent hospital after that. But anyway, she did have a son named David. But he died right after birth.
You like grandma was cool.
Yeah, she was great.
Okay. Who had a flat
I never met her either, David.
I spent every Saturday night there.
I spent every Friday night. Every other, right? Me and Wade had to take turns, so it was every other. We watched,
Well, I watched the Wild Wild West, drank my buttermilk.
Oh, your buttermilk.
Yeah,
Aunt Sherry would wash my hair if I was lucky enough for her not to have a date on that Friday night. Played her 45 records for me. And we would watch Tim Conway's show. He had a Western.
I remember.
It wasn't Wild Wild West, but it was Tim Conway's comedy Western show that we would watch. And she had the spoon
and
the TV.
To make the TV work, they had a spoon sticking in it.
I love that.
We didn't have TV,
and that
so
big
we
willow tree that would scrape against the windows. I loved it.
They had a TV.
Being up that hill was cool because
it was
you
awesome.
all the way up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened?
Bill's father drove a truck during this time, and he had routes from Dallas to Chicago and Dallas to Denver. He would take Bill with him at times, and it was during some of these trips that Bill learned how to drive a truck. Out in the desert areas between the ages of 10 and 13. They left Dallas for California for the father's health when Bill was 14 years old. In California, Jack went to work for Uncle Carl to drive a taxi. They all called their father Jack. Bill went to school at Franklin Junior High. This is where he actually met Barbara Lee Butler. But they didn't start dating yet. That's when Barbara Lee Butler.
Me.
That's when Barbara Lee Butler opened the front door and whistled every time Texans walked by. And he would cross the street to get on the other side.
I had the same problem.
Let him talk. talk. The first time
was when you and Alice,
Yes. Oh,
Pastor,
called you. That's right.
who lived next door to Uncle Carl,
I
where we
forgot
live,
about that. Yes.
what she wanted to know if I wanted to trade funny books.
Yes. We did
Ah,
trade funny books. You
what
don't think you
what
ever had
funny
any.
books?
But I
What
gave you
funny
some of
books?
I
mine.
must have stole them because I never bought
No, you
funny
never
books.
had them, but I used to give them to you when I went down to Alice's. Okay, at 16.
Don't
I
ask.
don't know.
Don't
What
ask.
is it? This is
Just
the
let
20.
it
I don't
go.
know.
It's a
Wait
comic
second.
book.
What's a funny book?
It's a comic book.
comic.
It's a comic book.
He doesn't know what a comic book is either,
Oh,
really.
well, that was,
but-
that was
Well, you never
Cartoon
got a
Cow.
Clear Lake with us. We had the
Cartoon
sleeping
Cow.
porch in the back.
Is
Remember?
it a
Yes,
comic book?
yes.
Is it a comic
I
book like
remember.
Pal and
Yeah.
whatnot?
Yeah.
Well, it was back then. It was golly.
Well, Silver Surfer.
David and I had Mad Magazine. That was the closest we had to that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Superman, Archie. Well,
Archie.
first
Yeah,
it was
Archie.
Archie.
Archie was
Archie
what was
Jughead.
the-
Looney Tunes.
What was
Looney Tunes,
the
yes.
the guy that was in the
Spider-Man.
war?
Oh,
Blondie.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
No,
Let him.
well, there was
Julie?
guy that
There was a funny guy that was a kind of a weird guy that was in the
Oh,
My
circus.
kids don't even know what a
Beetle
that is.
Beetle Bailey.
Beetle Bailey.
Beetle
Blondie
Bailey.
and
Blondie and
Dagwood.
Dagwood,
Dagwood.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And I always read
Okay.
cartoons because they
At
had that.
16.
It was about cars.
Yeah.
At 16, Bill became interested in building performance cars and racing. He also kept honing new skills, working for a year or so out at Travis. This is all the different things he did after he was 16. He worked a year or so out at Travis Air Force Base, where he built
No, that
parking
was
lots
later.
and
That
runways.
was-
Oh, that
Okay,
was
well,
later.
we got that one.
But go ahead and tell
He
that.
worked at Sperry's Mill on
Yeah.
Lemon Street. He was about 17, weren't you, Bill, when you worked there? At 17,
I was
where he
still-
drove
I
a
was in
forklift
11th
loading
grade.
and unloading boxcars. He took the midnight shift because he was still in high school. And he had lied about his age. You forgot to put in here that his father died.
I did, if you keep reading.
Oh, but, okay. Before I forget, the man who owned the dump truck company out at Travis.
Now wait a minute, you
I didn't
bypassed the trucks.
What are you talking about? They
But
didn't
building
became
the-
interested
Why
in
don't you
building-
just tell the
building
story?
performance cars and racing. He also kept honing new skills, working for a year or so out at Travis Air Force Base, where he built parking lots and runways. That's when you and I first started going together. You were working at Travis.
For the B-36.
He worked. He
Building
worked at Sperry
the
for the
B-36.
B-36. Okay, that was when he worked at
Right.
Yeah,
At-
that was a
Did I-
strategic air.
Strategic
Air
Air
Command.
Command. That was
Right.
what happened.
Travis was one of the.
That was when we
In
first started
fact,
going
while we were
together.
on that, I'll tell you something else that was interesting. And I'm sure you were the one that I was necking with a girl up on the hill
dear.
on
Wasn't me.
Maple. No,
Uh-oh. Wasn't me.
what
Maybe it was
street did
Juanita.
your girlfriend, the goofy one?
Oh, well, that helps.
See all had.
Lived up in that area off of Steffen Manor. Janice Winbecker. We were at her house.
She never lived there.
Yes, she did.
She did.
Well, who else was up
Well,
I
there?
think it was two other people. You and
No,
somebody else.
no.
Well, wait a minute. Anyway, I don't.
Anyway,
I admit I met with a few
There might have been another.
girls. But the night that General Travis plane crashed,
Into that.
At Travis
Oh
Air
my
Force
gosh.
Base.
and we seen it with a big flash.
You didn't tell me that when I was writing this
No,
down.
well,
It just came
again,
out.
things
Okay,
come
I
up.
just-
He's 80 years old, Benny.
But and then at that time it was Fairfield Sassoon Air Base.
Air
I was going
Base.
to say it wasn't named Travis.
Right,
Okay.
and then they named it
I didn't
Travis
know.
Air
There you
Force
go.
Base.
I didn't know that either.
It's always been
And
Travis.
also
I know.
that was long before I was out
You
there
were out
building
there
the
working,
parking
okay.
lots.
Oh,
Okay.
that
Well,
was
anyway, continue on because
Okay,
that's
and he worked the midnight shift when he was at Sperry Mills, of course, before
because he was
still in high school.
Now
He had
let me-
lied
And
about
he
his
lied about his
age.
age.
He had to lie
Let
about
me
his
say
age.
a little
He
bit
did
on that.
All right.
What I wanted to do was work at night so that I could go to school. And I'd
Yes,
leave
I-
right from there
Yeah,
and go
I
to
remember.
school.
Yeah.
And then had girlfriends and I'd go to bed
Social
about
life.
6 o'clock and get up at 11:30 and drive down to go to work at
Wow.
midnight.
Wow.
But anyway, I did that for quite a while. And it was,
We didn't need sleep.
they had a rotating shift. And if you worked 2 weeks on days, 2
Then they
on
changed
swing,
you?
and 2 in graveyard. And they made you do that because nobody really wanted to work.
Work all in one.
So I made a deal with a guy that if they let me have his job, I would
Is that
work
my
all the
purse?
time
all the
on midnight.
graveyard.
And they.
It's her
Wow.
It was a
clock.
guy named.
Yeah, it's my clock.
They owned a skating rink in Benicia.
Oh.
And Tripp was his name. And he was a guy that couldn't stay awake at night because for a while he worked there, and that's when I talked him into letting me work. And he would fall asleep. And what we do, they have 2 rows of boxcars outside of the warehouse. You'd go through one, and then there's a ramp that go into the second one, and you'd fill the second one full, and close the door, take the ramp up. Well, I was going by, and I went by, and I said, "Hey, Tripp, I took the ramp up." Okay.
No, and he
Yeah.
Right over there, and right through.
Shame on you.
That's
Now, when did your father die? He died 2 years after.
Wait,
you
it's
moved
in
here.
there.
Well,
Okay.
I don't
I think-
remember. He died before I worked at Sperry's.
Oh, so I got
Yeah.
that wrong. Well, anyway, keep reading.
Okay,
He
the
died before
man
I
who owned
graduated
the
in
dump
that
truck
graduation
company out at the air base was looking for people to go to Saudi Arabia. I remember this like it was yesterday. To work in the growing oil business in Saudi Arabia. Bill signed up, but because of his Class A license for the draft, he was not able to go. And
Yeah.
now I got to put this in about the draft.
That's a good thing.
Bill and I were married, and I had just found out I was expecting Troy.
Yeah, he's the one that kept me.
And so, and so it was a draft, you know, where they drafted people. You got a thing in the mail, come,
This
you're
is
being
for the
drafted.
Korean War.
And so my mother kept saying, have you gone down to the draft board after I found out I was pregnant? I said, no. She said, you better get down there, or they're going to draft Bill, and you're going to say goodbye for the Korean War.
No, I'm not making this up.
And
She's
now
the one
this is
that's
the
telling me
fact.
this.
And so I said, Mom, I can't make another appointment at Kaiser. It takes 2 weeks to get an appointment. She says, I'll be over. So she came over and got me. She took me down to Tennessee Street to a doctor. There was a bunch of
Any
doctors.
doctor.
And he
Just
took
go to
me
a
in,
doctor.
examined me. He wrote a thing to the draft board saying I was pregnant, my name, Bill's name. This is a gospel truth, honest to God. I walked in the draft thing. And I gave her the letter. She said, just a minute. She walked over to the desk, went through a bunch of, and pulled out Bill's and put it in the garbage. He would have been drafted. That's how close it was that he wasn't drafted.
Well,
to go
didn't
to
you
the
come
Korean
pretty
War.
close for Vietnam? Weren't they within 3 days or something? of you?
No. We had the lottery, and that was.
Oh, that
first
was-
number I
yeah.
think was 152. Was what I was, and they didn't take anywhere near that. And then the
Oh.
second time I was like 2 something. I was
Oh, I thought it went by birthday.
It
Anyway,
does,
I had to
it
put
does,
that
but
in
they-
there that he was
But they
on.
picked, they
Okay.
picked,
on the
you got a
same.
lottery, and
Right.
it was how many numbers, you know, and they took like the first 100, and
okay.
I was like 152. All my friends went and joined because they thought they were going to get drafted, and
Well,
they
that's
tried,
the way with mine. A lot of the guys I was with.
and they thought that they would get, like Eddie
A
thought
better-
he wanted to be an airline mechanic.
Right.
Well, they
Well-
made him a gunner on a helicopter.
Yes,
What is the-
right. Not that way
That's
today.
a
he got,
scary-ass
he got not hepatitis, but he got
Meningitis.
no, he got where in your lungs he got
Asbestosis?
no.
Tuberculosis.
Cold.
Tuberculosis.
Cold. When you get a cold, you're
Pneumonia.
not-
Pneumonia.
He got pneumonia twice up in Washington.
Wow.
The second time they
Sent
said
him
you're out.
home.
Oh,
So he
wow.
never
done.
went to Vietnam?
No, they
Thank
kicked him out.
goodness.
Wow.
Oh
The
my
you
second
know
time he
what?
got pneumonia, they
You
kicked him
must
out.
have had to do it twice though, because my father was in the Japan War.
World War II?
Right,
War
and then
II.
my mom said when they got married, the reason that they pushed their wedding up a year in advance is because they were getting ready to drop.
Ship him back
For
over.
the
Oh,
Korean
I
War.
bet. I bet so.
Well, a lot of them. Barbara's had a cousin.
Yes.
Callie, your cousin.
No, it was, Callie too, but Florence's husband, Dutch, also both of them.
We're talking about,
Talk about
Cal.
Callie, okay.
That lost both
Yes,
legs.
no, he
He
lost
was
both
in the
legs,
first.
yes.
It was in the World War II, and he was a officer, a lieutenant or a captain, and he got shot, and you know where he had gotten a Purple Heart
Yeah.
for World War II.
Yeah.
But being a officer, they drafted him for Korea, and he got over there and lost both
Both
legs.
his legs, yeah, I've got all the things.
Blown, he
was
stepped
such
on
a
a
cutie
mine
pie.
and blew both legs off.
Yeah, because you can do more than
Okay,
that.
finish this. I have to
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
In his
Go get my
senior
boarding
year of
pass.
high school, he went to work for Ford and quit school shortly after He didn't graduate.
I
Shortly
know.
before
Before
graduation.
graduation.
Okay, now Bill and Barbara were married in '51. Bill was working